Okay, so today we are going to implement pagination in our project. Now, in order to see pagination in action, we needed lots of products. So what I did, I have already inserted lots of products in the database table. So these are all the products that I have inserted. Okay. I'm sure you are already aware of the concept of pagination, but for the sake of completion, let me just say what pagination is. So basically what pagination does is that it divides the products that we have received from the backend into multiple chunks. And then out of those multiple chunks, only one chunk of products is displayed on the browser. Then at the very bottom, we see links to move on to the next page. So if we have, let's suppose, 20 products and the chunk size that we have decided upon is 5, then on the browser we will see 5 products, and at the bottom we will see links to go to the next page, which will display next 5 products, and there will be 2 more links for the rest of the chunks. Okay. Now the Laravel has made implementing pagination very easy. It has done all the work for us. We simply have to just call the functions that we need, and those functions have already defined the logic that is needed to get this functionality of pagination. So first of all, let's go to our controller, the product controller. Okay, so this is the index page which is displaying all of these products in the browser. So currently there is no pagination applied over here. Now in order to implement pagination, we simply have to replace this all method with paginate. That's it, nothing else. So basically, instead of using the all method, now we are saying we are calling the paginate method. The only thing that we have to do next is pass a parameter to this paginate method, and the parameter is actually a number which is going to tell the Laravel that what should be the chunk size, that how many products should be displayed per page. So let's put 5 products per page because now we have lots of products, so 5 is good enough. Okay, so now as far as the backend is concerned, we are done with the logic that is needed to implement pagination. Now let's go to the front end, and since this goes to the index.blade.php, so let's open that index associated with the product. Okay, so before calling this paginate method, this product was receiving a simple collection, but now it's receiving an instance of length aware paginator. So this is basically a class. This one, illuminate pagination length aware paginator. So when we are calling paginate method, we receive an instance of length aware paginator class. And this class has basically defined all the logic that is needed to divide this result set into different chunks. Okay, so now let's go back to the index page. Now over here at the very bottom, because we want to display this link, these links just once, so we have to go out of this for else loop. So basically this whole logic is defined within the for else control structure. So we have to go outside that control structure, and over here we simply have to say the variable that we are receiving is called products. So we have products and we are iterating over it one product at a time. Now remember, this products variable is an instance of length aware paginator. So we have to use this products variable at the bottom, because now this product is an instance of length aware paginator, and to that we have to chain a method called links, and that's it. So this is all the logic that we have to define, and the Laravel is already doing all the work behind the scenes for us. And now the pagination will start working. Okay, so let's go to our browser, refresh. Okay, now as you can see, we have this pagination. It doesn't look very nice, and I'm going to explain to you why. But if you see, we have a button which says previous, which is currently just a text because this is the very first page. So obviously there isn't any previous page, but we definitely have a hyperlink for the next, which will take us to the next page. So we have these 5 products. If we click and we move to the next 5 pages, it's also showing now displaying 6 to 10 of 47 results. So currently we have 47 products in our database table, and if you notice, to our URL it has already attached the query string, which is page equal to page number. So this also happens automatically. We didn't need to make any changes to make this happen. Now we have a one page to which we can go back to. So now this previous has also been turned into a hyperlink, so we can now go back to page 1. If you notice over here, now this says page equals 1. Next, this is page 2. Okay, click next. Now if you notice, it says 11 to 15 or 47 records, so we can keep going. Now let me show you one more thing. If we go further down, you can see this arrow, then these numbers. So these are the total chunks or pages in which our result set has been divided into. So click on 10, and these are the last two products, 46 and 47. Now this looks very ugly, so we have to apply some customization to it. Now before we apply any customization, let's understand where is all this information coming from. So basically Laravel has a blade file or a view which contains all this information that we are seeing over here. To that view, Laravel automatically passes that paginator instance, and within that view we have this information. That view also have associated styling attached to it, but the thing is that styling is defined in Tailwind. So recent versions of Laravel assume a front-end styling framework, Tailwind, to be the framework of choice, and in the older frameworks it used to be Bootstrap. So Laravel has already defined the styling for this pagination, but only for Tailwind and Bootstrap. Since we are using neither, we are defining our own SASS styles. That's why it looks so ugly. So in order to customize this view, we have to start from scratch. First of all, we have to define a view in which we have to define the HTML structure for this pagination, like what pieces of information we want to display, and then we will attach a SASS file for styling to that view. So first of all, let's create that blade file. So basically in our views, we have this admin folder, and within this admin folder, I have already created a file which is called paginator.blade.php, but this file is currently empty. Now in order to let Laravel know that for the pagination, this is the view that should be used as a view of choice, we have to pass the name of that view to this links method. So admin.paginator. Now instead of going to that default view which is attached automatically with any paginator by Laravel, now this view will be used instead, and currently this view is empty. So let's see what happens. So as you can see, there is nothing over here. Even though we can see the page number is 10, but we can't see any kind of paginator over here because the view that we are currently using for the pagination is empty. So in order to be extra certain, let's change the page number to, let's say, 7, and we see the products. So our pagination works, only we can't see any pagination links over here. Now let's put something over here. Let's make it hello custom paginator. Now instead of pagination links, we are seeing this text. So this means we are getting the information displayed from our paginator view. Now over here, we have to define the structure to display all the information that we are previously getting by default. Now the question is, where can we get all that information from? Well, the thing is this: any view which is associated with this paginator automatically gets an instance of paginator, and the Laravel gives us access to that paginator automatically via a variable called paginator. So this paginator contains all the information that we previously had, because this is the instance which contains the actual paginator instance. Now let's see what are we getting back. So we are getting back what we previously had. Everything is here, but we don't want to display this information like this, so we have to reorganize the structure. Now in order to reorganize the structure, let's have a look at the paginator instance. So this is the paginator instance, length aware paginator instance, and as you can see, the default variable name is paginator. Of course we can change the default variable name, but why go through all this trouble just to change the name? So keeping the name same, these are all the methods that we can use with this paginator instance. For example, this count method returns the number of items for the current page. So each page in our case will have 5 items, except for the last one which only has 2 products to display. And this current page will represent the current page number, like this, number 7. So we have all of these options that we can use with the paginator instance. Now let's go and define the structure of our paginator. So first of all, we have to check if this paginator has some pages. So we will say if paginator has pages. Now this has pages method determines if there are enough items to split into multiple pages. So if the items could be split into multiple pages or chunks, then this will return true. And in only that case we will display the paginator. That's why all the logic is going to be defined within this if block. Since all of those pagination links are links, so we are using the navigation HTML tag. And let's give it class name custom pagination. Now within this nav div, let's create an unordered list. Let's give it a class name pagination. Now if you remember, let me just show you. Now let's roughly divide this default structure into three parts. The first one is this previous and next links. Then we have these huge arrows. Actually this is one. Oh, this is another one. And in between we have these actual links. So both previous and next are hyperlinks, but when we are at the very first page, now if you notice, this previous has turned into a normal text, and if we go to the very last page, this next has been turned into a normal text, not a hyperlink. So we have to first of all define logic for these two parts. So let's work on this previous link. Now so this is the method that we are going to utilize on first page. It determines if the paginator is on the very first page. In that case, we will display the previous as normal text. Otherwise, we will display it as a hyperlink. Okay, so we have to again check if paginator on first page, then our list item is going to be, let's give it class name page item and another class name disabled. And within this, let's create a span and let's give it a class name. And as the contents, we need these two double arrows. So ampersand LAQUO semicolon. However, if we are not on the first page, that means we could be on page 2, 3 or last one. So on any other page, let me copy, paste it over here. Let's remove this disabled because in that case we don't want it to be disabled. However, now instead of this span is the contents of this list item, we are going to insert an anchor tag with the class name page link, the same class name page link, this one. But now this is not in a span but an anchor tag, and to that we have to pass the URL of the previous page. For example, so currently we are on page 10. So this previous should take us to page 9. Let's click on this one. And now we are on page 9. So the previous should take us to page 8. So at any moment this URL of the previous would be the one page which came before it. So to get the previous URL from this current page, we have a method in the paginator defined this URL, previous page URL. So paginator previous page URL. Now as far as the contents of this anchor tag, let's put back those double left arrows. Refresh. So this is coming from the original paginator. Let's go down. And this is what is coming from what we have defined. But why is it? This is supposed to be Q. Okay, so you can see these two arrows. Now we are on page 9, so that's why it's a hyperlink. Let's click on this and we got redirected to page 8. So that means this logic is already working. Now let's move on to page 1. Let's go down and you can see now this is just a text, not a hypertext. So this is working as well. Now we have to do the same for this link as well. Since the logic is going to be more or less similar to this if block, so let's copy it and then make changes to this one. Copy paste it over here. Now if paginator, the method we have to use is has more pages. So if it has more pages, in that case let's bring this what we have defined in the else part over here, and this logic that was originally in the if block, let's move it to else block. So if there are more pages to display, in that case we want those right double arrows to contain the URL of the previous page. So in that case let's change it to next page URL and change the arrows from left arrows to right arrows. However, if there aren't any more pages, in that case simply replace this with right arrow. Okay, now as you can see both of them are hyperlinked, so if we click on this right arrow we will move on to page number 4. So we got moved to page number 4. That means our right arrow is also working. I think I deleted it. Yeah, I deleted one product accidentally. Okay, now let's go to the last page, page number 10. Now we have one product on this page because I accidentally deleted a product. Okay, now this is just a normal text, it's not a hyperlink anymore. Okay, so these two parts are working. Now we have to bring in these numeric links. So now I am commenting this out. So these numeric links are supposed to sit between those left double arrows and right double arrows. Here, numeric links. Okay, so this is how it currently looks because we are only displaying these two links at the moment. Now we have to bring in those numeric links over here. Now in order to access those numeric links, Laravel has already provided us with a variable which is called elements. So if we want to access those numeric links, we have to use that variable. Again, this variable is by default given to us by Laravel, and using that variable we can access all of those numeric links. So since there can be multiple links, so that means it must be an array, and when there is array we have to iterate over it. So at for each elements is element singular, and each element of this elements array could in itself either be a string or another array. So we have to test that this particular element, if it's a string or it's an array. So if it's a string we have to deal it differently, and if it's an array we have to deal it differently. So therefore we have to make sure what kind of element we are dealing with. If this string, this element, so if the element over which we are currently iterating, if this is a string, so we have to define a different logic for that to handle it, and that logic is similar to this one where we have disabled left arrows. So copy and paste it over here. So insert a list item which is disabled, but however the contents of this span is simply whatever that string is, display that string. Okay, if that is not the case, let's end it this and start another if block. Now we have to check if this is an array. If it is array element, if this element is an array, then how do we handle it? Now since this element is an array, so we have to iterate over this element. So another block of for each element is, we want both index name and its value. So the index name will be the page number and the value will be URL. Since we need both, so this is the syntax we are using rather than this singular syntax. So this only contains the value, this contains the index name, and this the value, which is actually the URL of whatever is the page number of this element. Now let's define the logic, which is going to be similar to this one. So let's copy it and paste it over here and then make changes. So insert a list item. The anchor is going to have href, which is going to come from this URL. So href is going to contain the value coming from this URL, and the contents or the text, hypertext, is going to be this page number. Okay, now let's go and have a look in the browser. Okay, you can see all of the pages now. So if we click on one, we will be redirected to page 1. Okay, good, it's working. Let's click on page 5. Okay, good. 6. Okay, everything is working. Now we are on page 6. So eventually we have to define a logic which will display or style this link different than the rest of the links, to indicate that currently we are on page number 6. So in order to apply styling for the link which is currently active, first of all we have to define some structure in the HTML. So to do that, within this for each loop, we are going to use another if block, and the condition is if this page, that is the number, if this page is equal to paginator current page. So what this current page returns, get the current page number. So this will also return 6, and if the page value of this element is also 6, then highlight it. So highlighting styles will be defined in the SASS, but for the time being, okay, let's move this li to this else part. This is the normal link, but I need to copy this and paste it over here as well. However, to this class list we are going to add another class name, and we will define different styles to this class name. But for the time being, temporarily, let's give it inline style. Let's give it color red. So currently we are on page 6, so 6 is highlighted. Let's click on page 3. 6 was in red color. So now we are on page 3, and now page 3 is turned red. So that's why we had to use this if block. So if the page value and the current page value are same, then we want to define a list item with a class name active, because then we will define styling for this active class. Let's remove it. And if that is not the case, simply display a normal list item. Okay, so that was all the styling that we needed. That was all the structure that we needed. Now we are ready to move on to styling this structure. Now to define styling, first of all, let's create a SASS file. So I have already created this paginator.scss file, but it's empty at the moment. Let's link this file with the blade file. So let's remove this. Resources, SCSS folder, and there we have this paginator.scss file. Now let's go to this paginator.scss file. Since the first class that we have is this custom pagination, so let's start with this one, custom pagination, and the only thing that we want to do over here is we want to bring these in the center. So display flex, justify content center, and align item center. Let's give it some margin top to put some space between the pagination links and the product. So margin top, let's make it 1.5 frame. no effect. This is paginator file. It's inside the admin folder within the SASS folder. So admin. Okay, good. Now next we have to bring them in a single row. Okay, so next we have to target this unordered list. The class name is Pagination. Let's also give it display flex. List style is none. Padding remove if there is any, the default one. Margin, default margin, let's remove this one as well, because this pagination is inside this custom navigation and we have already justified and aligned it centrally, so it's okay if we remove these paddings and margins. Okay, good. They are in a single row, but why is there underline? Okay, these underlines are because of the anchor tag. The list style, by setting list style to none, we remove the dots which come with unordered list by default. Okay. Next comes this page item. So page item, let's give it margin top bottom 0, however left right 5 pixels. Okay, good, there is some space. Next we have to target these page links. So page link. Now this page link is either this span or this anchor text. In any case, it is the text that we see for those links. For example, these angle brackets or these numbers. So to turn this link into a box, we are going to give it width. Let's give it 3 rem. Height also 3 rem. Then border solid 1 pixel. And the color, let's give it padding 10 pixels. Text decoration none. Now if you notice, these boxes look more like the rectangular boxes rather than squares. However, since we have given same width and height, so they should look like squares rather than rectangles. So let's fix that. Since these anchor tags and spans are inline elements, so we have to set its display property to block or inline block. But once we do that, the alignment of the text within that box will not be centrally aligned. So for that, we are going to set it to flex, display property flex. Then again justify content center and align item center. Okay, that's better now. Let's bring in the base colors so that we can use those colors. So the colors that we have are, where do we have those base colors? These, okay, they're inside admin folder as well. So admin colors.scss, no sorry, just colors, since we are importing an SCSS file. Okay, and what colors do we have there? Let's use a different background color. Okay, so since the colors file and this paginator are in the same folder, so let's remove this. Okay, that's better. Now we are going to define the transition for the hovering effect such that it slightly changes the color. So parent column hover, background color is, we are going to go with, what colors do we have? Primary and secondary color. Okay, good. Next we have to define the properties for this disabled class, and then we have this active class. So now the thing is this, even though we are defining or targeting this disabled class, but the changes that we want to take place is this page link. So when this list item also has this disabled class, then some changes or some modification in the styling should take place to this page link. So to do that, we are going up to this page item. So over here we have to say parent, that is this page item, when it has another class dot disabled. In that case, define properties for page link, which is basically background color to, what colors do we have? Let's give it gray color because we want to disable it. The background should get gray. Pointer is none. Okay, so when we are over here on the first page, okay, this is way too dark. Okay, now color should be a shade of gray. Yeah, that's better. And when we are on page 10, same happens to the right arrow as well. Okay, now we have to target whichever page is highlighted, it should be displayed in a different color. It is this list item with the active. Okay, so I have attached active with anchor. Well, this we can work with this as well, but in order to be consistent with this disabled, we are going to give this page item this class active. So when list item has another class besides this page item, then we have to define different styling for this page link. So copy and paste. Sorry, this is pointer event, means it should not be clickable. Okay, this is also events, pointer events none. Background color should change to primary color. Color is white. I forgot to change it to active. Okay, some space as well. Okay, good. So okay, good. Now you must be wondering, where was the part where we were checking if element is string or element is array? So in order to show that part, let's go to our product controller and let's decrease its size from 5 to, let's make it 3. Now we will have lots of pages. Now you can see we have lots of pages. Now after 10 pages, this triple dot has been inserted in. So when we were checking if the element is a string or array, this is what we were looking for. So if it's a string, we didn't want to display it as a clickable link because the string, it doesn't take us anywhere. It's a kind of separator that has been put into by Laravel's paginator. So we had to handle that situation. Okay, so this is the end of our paginator tutorial. Now, like other components in Laravel framework, the paginator class also comes with lots of variations. So okay, so one of them is the simple paginate. So we have the simple paginate, and then there we have another one which is called cursor pagination. This one. So these are different variations. Again, we are not going into details of these, but they are different variations of the same concept. If you are interested, you can always refer to the documentation. So this is the end of our today's tutorial, and we will meet in next video with something exciting. Until then, if you did like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, comment and share as well. Thank you so much.